on the other side of the country, it's much harder to make fun of yourself or where you are right there. You have to be much more careful. So that's the first thing. We didn't see too much, so I can't say too much more.
But he certainly makes fun of himself. As a British person, we have some stereotype of the Great Britain, right? We said British people are very conservative, but then he made fun of himself. He said, yeah, he said we invaded every country. We're not really conservative, right? So he used a lot of jokes. He talks about East Coast, West Coast, American and British people. All right. So he made the joke of no children left behind. He said that's an irony too. Why is it an irony? No children left behind. No children left behind.
Without hearing it, it's hard to know.
Okay, but you are certainly familiar with the policy of no child left behind. Can you talk about what that policy is all about? What is no child left behind?
The No Child Left Behind policy is a change in the U.S. education system that occurred maybe 10 or 15 years ago. Before that, the emphasis was on teaching the best students. So the best students would be in honors classes, they would get special privileges, they would pass, and some people would just fail. They would be, and if they failed, they had to repeat that grade. So the emphasis was very much on teaching the best and making them better. The No Child Left Behind policy is sort of the opposite in that it's making sure no one fails. But as a result, that means that you try to teach everybody evenly. You try to teach everybody at the same level. And in order to make sure no one fails, that level has to be pretty low. So then it favors those at the bottom rather than favoring those at the top, who they assume, under the current system, they assume those at the top will succeed anyway, so they're trying to help those at the bottom. It's a very different system. I don't know how he made a joke about it, but it would be interesting to see.
Yeah. But in our current educational system, do you think we're trying to help everybody to be equal? So in other words, it's very similar to No Child Left Behind. We're trying to lower the standard so that everybody can go to the local school, the community school, instead of going to a very prestigious high school or prestigious junior high school and so forth. I think there's some similarity. That's why some parents are opposing it, right? The parents don't want to be like equal. They want their children to be different. So sometimes they want to go back to the traditional testing, exam-based entrance. This one is also very, very interesting. Harry. Yeah, Harry is going to show another unique video clip. Would you like to show a little bit first? Do you know who Monica Lewinsky is? Before we do that, maybe we need to give them some background because not everybody knows who Monica Lewinsky is.
Monica Lewinsky is the mistress of Clinton. Mistress of Clinton. Yes.
She was an aide that was working in the office that had oral sex with him. That became a big scandal in the U.S.
So in other words, this woman, when she was 22 years old, she had sex. Oh, I shouldn't say she had sex with Clinton. I should say she had a relationship. I don't even know if I should say she had a relationship with Clinton, because that can get myself into trouble. Because it is a legal issue whether she had sex, whether they had sex or not. Okay, that's another issue. But they had some relationship when she was 22. And as a result, you can see if you had a relationship with the president who's also married, what's going to happen to you. Okay? First, let me ask you, if you know somebody who had a relationship with President Ma, for example, what would be your reaction to that woman? Shameful. Okay, who is ashamed? Is it Ma or that woman? Both. Okay, so it's very shameful. How about you? If it happened, say, for example, 20 years later, what's going to happen during the 20 years between the event occurred and, 20 years later? What's going to happen during this time? What do you think? What's your imagination? What's going to happen during this 20 years? To this woman who had a relationship with the president.
Maybe people will think they'll hate her or
Okay?
not,
Yeah, people.
not judge, they will judge her,
Okay,
not
people.
be very fair.
Right. People would judge her, seriously, right? Judge her all the time. What else might happen during the
I
time?
think it will be a scandal that follows her whole life.
Right. It follows her all the time. Right. She can't run away from this scandal. How about you? Let me prepare your audience first.
I think people will be biased on the woman, but not the person or the man too much. I mean, relatively.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you will blame the woman.
Yeah.
People tend to blame the woman more than the man when a scandal like that happens.
And all the things the woman did will be larger or will be larger by reporters or others.
Okay, so the reporters will enlarge the whole
Yeah,
thing and
yeah.
make it, wow, a big matter. Everybody will talk about it. How about on Facebook or some, WeChat and social media? Yeah, what about in social media? If you know this woman did this, what would you do? What would you see on social media?
Will report and report again.
Yeah. Report and report again. Spread the news very
Spread the
quickly. Yes. How about Lawrence?
I think President Mao will probably he wouldn't be a president anymore, maybe for that end. And-
Interestingly, he said that President Mao wouldn't be a president. How about President Bill Clinton?
Yeah, I think his fame has been destroyed very seriously for that scandal,
Okay.
and I think the party was also hurt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. President Clinton was hurt, but was he impeached and stepped down? No. President Clinton, who had an affair with Lewinsky, was not impeached. Han He was not impeached. He never stepped down from the presidency, right? He finished his 2 terms. Nothing happened to him. Now, let's find out about, yeah?
he a good president? Is he Clinton?
That's another question. Is President Clinton a good president? It depends on whether you talk about public policy or private lives and the moral issues. Yeah, but whether private, personal lives, moral issues matter as a president. Is only the public policies matter? The economies matter? How about your person, as a person, your moral standard? Now let's find out what happened to Lewinsky. 20 years later, she gave a talk, a TED talk.
Obviously, that's changed, but only recently. It was several months ago that I gave my very first major public talk at the Forbes 30 Under 30 Summit. 1,500 brilliant people, all under the age of 30. That meant that in 1998, the oldest among the group were only 14, and the youngest just 4. I joked with them that some might only have heard of me from rap songs. Yes, I'm in rap songs. Almost 40 rap songs. But the night of my speech, a surprising thing happened. At the age of 41, I was hit on by a 27-year-old guy. I know, right? He was charming, and I was flattered, and I declined. You know what his unsuccessful pickup line was? He could make me feel 22 again.
He have did he did the wrong thing and she was 22, so he just made a joke on herself and attract the audience. And the second, he asked a question later about did everyone do something wrong at you guys at 22? And almost everyone's yes. So he asked a question to let audience start thinking about why I am start this speech today. And in the all speech, there are no redundant words, so it's very brilliant. And to conclusion, first step is to draw the attention, like make a joke on herself, and use personal stories because you did something in person, so you can tell your stories to touch others. And the third is reflection. In the end, it also tell not only her story but another girl's story. And the most important thing is always look at the bright side of life. And this is the most important reflection to all the audience. Yes. Thank you.
Actually, why she address a group like that after 20 years? She now wants to talk about cyberbullying. Cyberbullying. Remember you mentioned people will talk about her all the time and spread her news. Even her very private conversations, tape recorded conversation and so forth, have been spread all over, everywhere. So, but she didn't realize that was cyberbullying 20 years ago because there was no such a term. Just like 30 years ago, there's no term like sexual harassment. So people who felt uncomfortable, if they felt they were harassed, there's no concept because there's no word like sexual harassment 30, 40 years ago. So women couldn't pinpoint, this is something I feel uncomfortable, what it is, right? If there's no word. Same as cyberbullying. Now I'm going to give the floor to Erica and Nurul because they want to lead a debate on whether Facebook is harmful or more helpful to the lives of young adults. Thank you.
Okay, so you know what a debate is, yes? You argue one point for, one person argues for, like in agreement of what the statement says, and the other group will argue against. Now, our topic, as Professor Rao said, is Facebook more harmful or more helpful to the lives of young adults? So what we're going to do is split up into two groups. We have 4 and 3. Do you want to do ladies against gentlemen, or you prefer to mingle a bit? Which do you prefer?
What's your preference? Do you want to men against women or mix the group a little bit? Okay.
Mix the group. Okay, how about we count 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay, so 1's over here, 2's over here. You'll need, yeah, like a paper to just jot down.
Jot it down.
And again, this is just to aid with the communication process. Okay, great. So, let's have the people with, the group with the less people, choose which side you want to argue for. Do you believe that Facebook is more harmful or more helpful? Which side do you want to go with? More helpful. So you guys have is more harmful. Okay, so we're going to argue. Well, we had 5 points, but at the start of the debate, Nurul and myself will debate the first one, which is networking, and so you will focus on the last 4. Okay? So each of you has to argue at least 1 point, and for the group that only has 3, then one of you will have to argue 2 points. Okay? So we're going to get, is 5 minutes okay? You're going to get 5 minutes to come up with your points that you want to argue. For educational platform, you're going to argue why educational platforms on Facebook are more helpful to young adults, and you're going to argue why it's more harmful or the negative side of it, okay? So you need to decide among yourselves which of you is going to argue which point, and you make your arguments. I would say at least maybe 3 points, because you'll have 30 seconds to 1 minute to argue that point, and then the other group is going to rebut on that same point, okay? All right, so 5 minutes starting now.
Demonstrate.
Yes, we will demonstrate. Remember, we'll be doing networking, okay? So networking is out. You're going to be looking at educational platform, accessibility to apps, building relationships, and communication.
You want to explain a little bit accessibility to apps?
By accessibility to apps, meaning the different applications that Facebook has to offer. Some of them you could argue are good, yes, like Doodle, you're the computer person. Yeah, the accessibility to apps.
Apps, do you guys know what apps means? Apps, application, like in your mobile phone, there's apps, right? But also in desktop, like in computers, they have apps as well. So what does it mean by accessibility to apps? That means you can access, you can go to this app, you can use this app easy from your mobile phone, from your laptop, or from your desktop. Very easily, as long as you have internet connection. And then internet connection in Taiwan is also very easy, right? So that's the accessibility apps, to apps.
But you could also think about the fact that not all apps are useful, and people use different apps for the wrong reasons that can be more harmful than helpful. For example, some of the apps on Facebook,
Like, games apps.
yeah, the games,
You
Farm
have-
Heroes Saga, and
How
all
many
the-
play games in the Facebook? Come on, I play games. I played is a past tense, meaning it's not now. I played the Farmville, I think. I also played Mafia War.
Candy
Candy
Rush,
Crush, Candy
Yeah,
Candy
Candy
Rush,
Crush.
Candy Crush.
Yeah.
But also there are other like card games in Facebook. So you gotta think what kind of apps that Facebook has made it into like easier to get. Because Facebook, remember, Facebook is accessible for anyone, from young little children until young adults to adults, right?
Okay. All right. So 5 minutes starting now then.
So they are the pros. Here is the cons. Contract, the good games. You will have to see what behind the education negative effect of having Facebook as an educational platform. Do you know what using Facebook as an educational platform? Have you experienced it? Based on that,
Okay, if you guys are ready, Erica, then after they finish presenting their points, Jerry is going to comment on their debate.
Okay, so like we said, we need time.
Oh, yeah, time is correct. Oh,
So like we said, you're going to get a minute to make your argument, to convince the other group and our mediator, judge, Professor
Rao.
Professor Rao.
She's Professor Rao, I'm Dr. Rao.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Dr. Rao will make a judgment as to who made the best convincing argument for this debate, right? Good. Okay, so let me get the timer.
You already told people how to do presentation. You said you need to look at the audience, eye gaze, right? And make people feel interested in your talk. Do that.
Okay, so we're going to do a demonstration about, for me, I'm going to argue why Facebook, the aspect of networking is more helpful, and Nurul is going to try to convince me why it's more harmful. Okay? So, let me time myself. All right, so Facebook is a very innovative, very cheap, very efficient way of getting people connected with each other. So it doesn't matter from how far away you are. People from millions of miles away can just get connected as quickly as the strike of a key and get connected with each other, share their products, share their ideas, make new friends, and form whole new friendships that can be more economical, that can be more motivating, and that can really solve both personal, it can help you to be help your personal goals as well as business goals as well as economical goals when it comes to a person's business and so on. And that was my time. So see how quickly 1 minute goes? Okay. Now Noodle will
Pass the
rebut.
baton. All right. I don't have time. I don't need time.
Yes, you should. Ready?
Yes.
Right, Erica, I like the idea of networking using Facebook as former new friendships. But however, the thing is, we mentioned, I think Professor Rao mentioned earlier about Monica Lewinsky. The case is about bullying, cyberbullying. So the thing about it, for me, it is more harmful because young adults, they are prone to cyberbullying. They love making new friends. It makes them excited, but what type of friends they're making? And that's the kind of make them fragile to cyberbullying. That's why, in my opinion, when it comes to networking, Facebook has caused a lot more harm than good. Thank you very much.
And then Dr. Rao would judge. Yeah.
I think after everyone,
After.
right?
Oh,
After everyone.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, based on what we said just now, he would say, okay, the points you made were more stronger than the points you, and so on. So are you ready? Yes? Good. Okay. So we'll start with education platforms. And your time starts now.
Okay, so I think Facebook is an education platform. So you can.
Okay, one second. Move to the front. Okay, the other person for educational platform? The other person? Ready? Start.
Okay. So Facebook is an education platform. The first one is Facebook is very informative. You can follow the latest trend, latest news, and so it's very informative. And the second is you can share new ideas. So, and the third will be we can provide new knowledge from Facebook, and all these are for education purposes. And also you can make group learning and make your learning more efficient and you also can launch maybe public debate on some issues, on some maybe global issues or social issues to develop a new point of view. And also you can maybe launch a public campaign for certain values, I think. So these are my points of view for the education platform. Thank you.
So we can start.
Okay.
I think the harmful point is the information on the internet may be false information because it go very fast, and so something will not be checked again and it put on the internet. So we may share the false information, and it just use words. So when we learn on the internet, we may misunderstand it. So, and the third is like we put something learning experience on the internet, and the professor doesn't know what the reality is like. Maybe he didn't follow your Facebook or what, or he followed your Facebook and he just look you all do funny things in the daily life.
Thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. Accessibility to apps.
So
Accessibility to apps. Huh?
They want to, can we have a rotation? Like
Yeah.
not just one person?
Yeah, everybody is supposed to say, it's to argue 1 point.
Yeah,
He has to argue.
No, he has to argue too because they only have three.
three people. Right. Forgot about that one. This really shows my math is really bad.
Okay, you ready? Start when you're ready.
all right now. Okay, so it's me again. So accessibility to the apps. The cons are I think you can relax and build relationships, and you can play games on Facebook. And I think it helps you relax and build relationship with your friend. And also you can download communication apps to build relationships. And also you can promote your product and ideas. So if you're selling something on Facebook or you have some ideas to spread, you can also use Facebook apps. And also you can shop by Facebook apps. You download some shopping apps and maybe buy something with a more reasonable price. And you can make life easier than by using those apps. And also you can even make new friends. Right? If you download some apps meant for making new friends, like maybe Messenger or something like that. And also you can share your lives via Instagram or some sort of apps like that. And that's basically my point of view.
Thank you.
Just in time.
And I think that's easy, right? And the apps can make our lives easier. But how about the work? Such as 有容简，对，有容医生有 if you will do something after work, and such as yesterday and today, 1 p.m. he posts something on Facebook. I think didn't go to our labs because if you have the apps, you will work every time, 24 hours, and you will reply the boss asking something, you will asking your boss reply now. So I think the apps will let our labs too busy, and it didn't healthy for everyone. And another word, the apps. Yeah, thank you.
Building relationships. Is the mic on?
I'm responsible for building relationships, and the first one, Facebook can make us shorten the geography distance. Like our Geneva page, we all live in different places, but we can know what we have to do in this Geneva program with the Facebook page. And secondly, like relationship like parents and child. Our parents can reach our daily life and what we do more easily and know what we do. And fourthly, we can reach celebrities more easily, and we can reach their timeline and more close with them. The fourthly is Facebook can avoid a bit of embarrassment, and we can use private message to say something we don't say.
So, I think building relationships on Facebook is harmful because there might be a lot of fake accounts on Facebook. Like you said, building relationships through Facebook, but it's actually fake, like building fake relationships with strangers you don't really know, or you don't even know if the picture he or she shows on his or her profile is true. And there is a really famous cyberbully examples is the hate group that recently happened in Taiwan. And like people just leave negative comments invisibly, like you don't have to be responsible for their comments. And it is actually harmful for young adults or actually for anybody. Yes. So that's my points.
I have 3 points to prove that Facebook is more helpful for us in communication. The first one is it's free to message or chatting with others because you can just take out your cell phone and message to your friend. You can save your telephone bill. And the second one is you can know your friends what they are doing or what they are feeling now. For example, they are posting a picture and it's more lively, more impressive. Last but not least, you can get the news immediately. For example, because of the Facebook, I know the earthquake of Nepal or even the celebrity Cindy suicide by herself. And that's my 3 points of helpful in communication.
It's convenient to communicate with your friends and families through Facebook, but it's not a face-to-face interaction. We can touch each other or hug each other, and we can feel each other's emotion. And sometimes it may cause misunderstanding. And sometimes in the work, we may have a lot of colleagues may talking to you through Facebook, and we have to respond to them immediately, and it causes a lot of pressure. And sometimes we can just communicating clearly through Facebook because something is really complicated. That's my point.
Okay, I think everybody did well. You communicated clearly the positive and negative sides of Facebook. In some cases, it's hard to tell whether you were talking about Facebook or sort of internet in general. In some cases, it sort of spilled over into other things outside of Facebook proper. And that may be partly like accessibility to apps. There are some Facebook apps and then there are other apps, and it's hard sometimes to separate what is really Facebook. But that again is important to your topic. If you are speaking, you need to be very clear about exactly what the topic is and make sure that you address that particular topic. One thing that nobody even mentioned, but is really important to the discussion, is what are young adults? How young are we talking about, or how adult are we talking about? It may be different for someone like you, or someone who's 30 who still might consider themselves to be young adults, or someone who's 15 and may consider, I'm an adult? Well, almost. I'm young anyway. So how young is this young adults? Because there are certainly different issues at different ages. A lot of the cyberbullying, not all, but a lot is happening with very young students, high school age students, who can be very sensitive to their friends, and they have friends, in a large number of friends, because they're in school with people, and they see them every day. So it's a different situation than it is with you, who may be trying to keep in touch with your friends and relatives from high school, hometown, or people that you meet through this program who are in Geneva. So it's a different situation that you need to address, and no one mentioned that, but certainly if you were going to address this issue in detail, you would need to consider the basic question. Because again, as was very clear, any form of communication can be beneficial, can be harmful. The positive things, the good things, it's cheap, it's easy, it's fast, it's immediate, it shortens the distance, all of those very positive things. On the other hand, as it was pointed out, there can be false information, there can be misuse of that immediacy, where someone says something that's false and no one can tell because we just believe it, because it's there, somebody said it. So that's, as with any communication, it can be used positively, it can be used negatively, and I think you communicated that well.
Okay, so overall, which side is better, is more convincing to you?
To me, well, that depends on my personal bias, doesn't it?
Yes.
It depends on which side I feel has the stronger point to begin with, because I'm going to see it, I'm going to say, yeah, I agree with them because they are saying the same things that I already feel.
Exactly. So you hear what you want to hear, and you are convinced by something you have already been convinced. That's why it's hard for him to say which side is better.
But
But-
both sides did a great job.
But also because I'm an analyzer, so I try to be balanced. I mean, if I were a taskmaster, I would just say, this one's better.
You mean that side?
Whichever.
No, right. Okay, he's not saying which side is better, and he doesn't want to say which side. Okay, I noticed two strategies. One is from Noodle. Remember when she started, she said, yes, I agree with you. I recognize I like your idea. That's the point I made before. You have to address your opponent. You don't make them feel they are irrelevant, but you say, yes, I think you are right, or I agree with you. I like your ideas, but. So that's the strategy she used. And Janice also used a strategy, even though we all know we have to make 3 points. And she started by saying, I'm going to make 3 points. That's also a strategy to draw your attention. So those are the 2 things I noticed that people address, the audience or the opponent. That's eye-catching. Okay? But before we take a break, I'd like to ask Lawrence to share with us the second point, the second assignment, how to raise and answer questions.
Do you want us to see a little bit or what? Okay, Terry? Okay, why don't you stand there and Terry?
What can we call Taiwan? A country? A breakaway province? Or just an island? We'll talk about the options and the impacts on Chinese-American relations next on Global Perspectives.
This program is made possible in part by funding from the UCF Global Perspectives Office, the Global Connections Foundation, and the India Center at UCF.
Half a world away, the equally passionate campaign resulted in the re-election of the President of Taiwan, the island that has been a challenge for American presidents since 1949. Our guest today, Shelley Bigger, will help us understand the origins of modern Taiwan and its role in American-Chinese relations. Welcome to the show, Dr. Bigger.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So you were actually in Taiwan during the lead election. Tell us a little bit about what it was like.
Well, this election was one that kind of taught me a little lesson, which is if you think you understand something, go with your gut a little bit, because going into the election, I thought, surely President Ma is going to be reelected. There were a lot of reasons to expect that. But when I got there, there was so much enthusiasm in the opposition campaign and so much what looked to me like anxiety in President Ma's campaign that I really got caught up in the possibility that there was a real upset in the offing. But in the end, it pretty much fell true to form, and President Ma was reelected, not by as big a margin as he won the first time, but a healthy margin.
Are there any surprises for you?
Okay, first of all, I have to explain why I chose this clip, because I'm a political science major, so I didn't mean to take such serious topic, but out of my major, I think. So this clip basically talks about how the cross-strait relations now is formed, and the difference between Taiwan and China, and also the role of the United States in the cross-strait relations right now. And from this clip, I think we can conclude some clues for how to raise and ask questions. And first of all, I'll separate into 2 parts. One's for the askers and one's for the answers. So for the asker, the first thing is to know what you want to ask, which means you have to make your questions very clear. So the answer will know what to answer and what do you want to know. And the second part will be ask questions one by one. You cannot ask a lot of questions at a time. You will make the answer don't know what to do or what to answer. He doesn't know what you want to know. And also the third part will be you cannot, when you ask a question, try not to be too aggressive, even though you do not agree with the answer. And that's a basic, I think, politeness for me. And the fourth part is to show respect to the speaker. When the answer is talking, you do not interrupt him, and express your feeling after he finished answering you. And as for the answer, there are also 6 points to pay attention to. The first is when the asker is asking a question to you, you have to listen very carefully to know what you want to know from you. And the second is eye contact. Making eye contact makes you, it allows you to express your idea and to convince your idea, make your idea more convincing. And the third part will be fully explain what's in your mind, but keep it short and make key points. I think you don't want to hear 10 minutes of blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And also the fifth part will be, you also should not use too impulsive words or too aggressive words, so that you can remain a certain level of subject. And the last part will be, when you hear a question, you just take your time and don't be too nervous and answer something more logically. So that's basically my point of view to raise and answer questions. Thank you.
I also watched this video and I noticed one correction. In Shelley Rigger's point, mention of a home of the indigenous people, she said, in Taiwan, we have another group of people who were originally from the Philippines. That's wrong, because Taiwan is considered the homeland of Austronesian people. We are not from the Philippines. We actually migrated to the Philippines, and a group of people came back to Taiwan. That's the Yami people on Orchid Island. So when you talk about indigenous people, we would say probably 5,000 or 6,000 years ago, they came from China, South China. But the migration direction is never from the west to the east, but it's from the east to the west, eventually to Hawaii and to Easter Island. So that's one correction I have to make. But one thing that I feel this speaker is very effective is because she likes to use metaphors. She said, Taiwan and China have been separated for so long. It's very much like whether to divorce or not to get a divorce, right? She said, well, after so long, might as well get a divorce. But she also said, if two Chinas or Taiwan and China are back together, it's a new model. This model is called the traditional family and housing arrangement. If you remember what she said, in Chinese traditional housing, 四合院, right? We have two wings. Even though if we were united, we're still living in two wings. We still have our own authority managing our business, even though we are under the same name, same family system. So I think her use of metaphor is very powerful. That's a good way to answer questions, using metaphors, using analogies. Okay, now let's take a break for 5 minutes, and we can move on to our very last point, intercultural communication. we only have 30 minutes left. It's been a long day, but you've been doing very well, and I'm quite impressed with your performance. The very last topic is understanding intercultural communication. 5 years ago, when I went to Wheaton College to teach in the intercultural communication program, during the reception, a man, probably in his 50s, came to greet me, and I spoke to him very politely. After a while, he said, "You have no accent." Okay? Now, let me ask you, when people greet you and talk to you and said, "You have no accent," what does that mean? That means you speak like a native speaker. What else? You have no accent. What does it presuppose? Okay, it's very much like, where are you from? Right? You look Asian, but you speak English. Where are you from? What else did she presuppose? You have no accent. Yes, exactly. So the presupposition is Asians tend to have accent, but you look Asian enough. How come you don't have an accent? So where are you from? Right? That kind of, to me, it's not a compliment. In fact, like Lauren said, that means you speak English like a native speaker. Then what is native? That's another question we raised this morning, right? So if you were me, how would you answer if they say, "You have no accent"? How would you answer, Mia?
No, I'm not. Okay.
Oh, sorry, Kiwi. Mia, Kiwi. You have no accent.
But first of all, I will be happy about that. But for speaking, I will do think I'm not the same with you. I'm from other place, so.
So respond. Let's role play.
Yeah.
You have no accent.
Thanks, but I think
What else would you say?
I just think what I want to reply.
Okay, so you're still thinking,
Yeah.
what's next? Okay, let me role play with all of you. See, you have Jerry. Why don't you come over, because it looks more authentic to come from a man like this.
Okay.
You role play.
Wow, you have no accent.
Thank you very much.
Where are you from?
I'm from Taiwan.
How did you learn such good English?
Because I always watch movies on HBO.
Oh, I see. You have no accent.
Oh, well, because I love Hollywood.
Hollywood. Oh.
Okay, thanks.
You have no accent.
You have no accent too.
Different.
Okay.
Okay. You have no accent. Like you? Okay. You have no accent.
I think about the same thing.
Okay.
Okay. What was my answer? At that moment, if I did not think too much, I would have answered, "Thank you. I have learned English from such and such place," or "I have practiced English for a long time," by adding something like that to show my politeness. But still, I accepted his compliment. But at that moment, I really thought deeply, and I decided to answer as a social linguist. I put on my cap as a social linguist at that moment. I said, "Everybody has an accent." That was my answer. Just like what you said. You said, you don't have an accent either. I said, everybody has an accent. And I said, I'm no exception. I almost want to say, you are no exception. That would have really upset him if I said, no, you are no exception. Everybody has an accent. You are no exception. But then I didn't make friends because of my response. I should have followed these people's example by accepting the compliment. But I couldn't, because I think I don't perceive this as a compliment because I am trying to analyze what's going on here. I think when he cannot detect when I cannot be detected, sorry. Okay, when my accent cannot be detected, that means I have a talent. Okay, I have a talent. But on the other hand, that means foreigners have noticeable non-native pronunciation. Foreign pronunciation is undesirable. So if I'm willing to remove it, that means I'm making an effort to get rid of something undesirable in order to please him. And his evaluation of my pronunciation actually should be perceived as compliment on my exceptional control of a foreign language. But I don't want to accept the stereotype and the ideology at that moment. So I said, everybody has an accent. But then I didn't make friends. He never talked to me again. So, yeah, Jerry?
Of course, this happens in every language, not just English. Sometimes I'll be in the market and somebody will say, hey, you need to join Namaha. And do I accept that as a compliment? And oh, thank you. Or do I say, well, you have a stereotype of me. I mean, just because I look foreign doesn't mean that I can't speak Chinese. It's like, so every language has this same issue.
Exactly. Okay, how can one's accent serve as an identity marker? I'd like to play a little video, okay? Let's listen to different accents and see and find out what happened.
Hello, yes, can I ask a few questions about the apartment on Park Street?
What was your name?
My name's Juan Hernandez.
It's been rented.
Oh, it's gone. Hello, my name is Sanjay Kumar. I am calling about the apartment on Park Street.
It's not available.
Not available? Hello, my name is Tyrone Washington. I'm calling about the apartment on Park Street.
It's been rented.
Hello, I am Chen Yin. My name is Khalid bin Ali. I'm Tuan Vo. Hello, my name is Moshe Goldberg. I use a wheelchair. It's gone. Not available. All right. Thank you. Yes, hello, my name is Graham Wellington. I'm calling about the apartment for rent on Park Street. Is that still available?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Really?
Housing discrimination is illegal. If you think you've been a victim because of your race, color, national origin, sex, religion, disability, or family status,